Now, Democrats have said from the start that this impeachment effort was politically motivated and not based on any substantive wrongdoing. And yet, Republicans will try again next week. And while the GOP spirals and consumes itself, at least 65 of the most MAGA members of the House have busied themselves introducing legislation that declares Trump, quote, did not engage in insurrection. There's little hope that this bill is going to get enough support to pass, but it doesn't matter because successfully passing important, necessary, critical legislation does not appear to be the point anymore. The point, it would seem, is to show fealty to the former president, Donald Trump, even if that means self-sabotage, even if that means stalling progress, even if it means that this may be the least productive Congress in modern history. Joining me now is Democratic Representative from the U.S. Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett. Good morning, Congresswoman Plaskett. Thank you for being here. Let's talk. This Congress so far, it's the least productive in modern history. What hope do you have that the rest of the year may be different and we can turn a corner and actually get things done in Washington?
Well, good morning to you. I'm usually here with Ali Velshi in the morning, but I'm so glad to see you here as well. It's an honor to be with you. Listen, this is a failed Republican Party. Every piece of legislation that has been passed that's of significance have been done with the Democrats. The Democrats, from operating in the minority, have actually been the ones controlling what's going on in Washington, because the Republican Party is all about breaking the American people. And this border bill is just another example of that. At the word of Donald Trump, they've moved away from a bill which was in their favor because they don't want to show that President Biden is getting things done, whether it's bringing down the cost of insulin, whether it's doing fighting gun violence in this country, whether it's infrastructure bill or dealing with climate change. President Biden has been able to get those things done during this term, and Trump can't stand to see him do anything else.
Congresswoman Plaskett, you are a member of what is often described as a very austere body. This is literally the body that's responsible for funding our government, keeping our country running, and doing many of the things that taxpayers send representatives to Washington to do. There are about 65 members of the House that introduced this new resolution that is more or less trying to declare that Donald Trump is innocent and has clean hands with respect to January 6th. And at the same time, none of the other stuff that I just mentioned, funding the government, keeping us running, and doing other things to pass legislation, is actually happening. As a member of this body, what do you feel like that contrast says about Congress right now?
Well, I think the contrast is very stark. It's very, very frustrating for those of us who have people back home who need things done. The people of the Virgin Islands have sent me to Washington to make sure that they have wealth creation, to make sure that there's safety for their children, to make sure that there is resilience against climate change. And the Republicans absolutely do not want to do anything. They are busy doing failed impeachments of individuals. They are searching for an impeachment of President Biden, can't find it, and so are just looking for anyone with the name Biden involved in it. It is absolutely frustrating to not only see that nothing is happening, but also to be in a place where we know that Americans still need us to work. I don't know what's going to happen to the Republican Party, but, you know, it just says to me that we've got to get people out there to vote come this November so that we can shift the narrative and get things to go back on track to getting things done and being the austere body that you talked about. Right now, you don't feel like we're in an austere, adult-filled body right now in Congress.
In 2015, I think when we were watching the primaries take shape, there was really a sense that this was different, but we had no idea where things were going. And I'm curious right now in this moment, is there anyone in Congress, any other members who may be concerned that right now, given what is becoming the new normal, that we are literally watching the job description of U.S. Congress be changed right before our very eyes?
Well, I think that we're seeing that on the other side of the aisle among quite a number of them. And just this week during what is called the Weaponization Committee, I was talking about the fear of many of my Republican colleagues to speak truth to the power that be's within their party. We have, of course, the extremes in there, those 60 individuals that want to convince us that our eyes are lying to us about what actually took place on January 6th. But then there are also individuals who know the truth, but are deathly afraid of their positions to be able to speak that truth. And so, as our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, says, we are going to continue as Democrats to be the adults in the room, to compromise where we can, and to get things done for the people that have sent us there, and to ensure that our children, your children, mine, continue to believe in the American dream and continue to believe that this is the greatest country, because there are those of us that are going to do the right thing.
U.S. Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, thank you so much. I will give Allie your best, and it was a pleasure talking to you this Saturday morning.
It was so good to see you as well. Take care.